Bees, National Geographic Kids by Laura Marsh. Bees. Table of contents. Buzz. Outside, the sun is shining, the flowers are blooming, and the bees are buzzing. When some people see bees, they run. Others might not notice the bees, but let's stop and take a closer look. Bees are helpful. Our world needs bees. Question: what kind of bee is hard to understand? Answer: a mumblebee. Helpful bees. Bees help both people and plants. Honeybees make honey and beeswax. People use these things in lots of ways. Beeswax is used to make candles and cleaning supplies. Honey is sweet and delicious. All kinds of bees help plants make seeds. Seeds can grow into new plants. Some of those plants give us fruits and vegetables. We can thank bees for strawberries, apples, almonds, tomatoes, and many other foods. A bee sits on the flower of a strawberry plant. Pollen power. When a bee lands on a flower, the flower's pollen rubs off on the bee. Pollen sticks to tiny hairs on the bee's body. Buzzword. Pollen, a sticky yellow powder made by flowers. This bee has pollen all over its body. When the bee travels to another flower, pollen from the bee brushes off onto the new flower. This is called pollination. Now the new flower can start to make seeds. A bee's leg has special hairs that form a basket. The bee brushes pollen into the basket. Then it flies back to the nest. This pollen is used as food for baby bees. Empty pollen basket. These pollen baskets are filled with pollen. Only female bees have them. Bees collect nectar from flowers too. They drink nectar with their tongues. Some bees make honey out of nectar. These bees are called honeybees. Tongue on a bumblebee. Buzzword: nectar, a sweet, sugary juice that flowers make. 7 cool facts about bees. 1. The garden bumblebee has a tongue that is as long as its body. 2. Humans collected honey from bees as early as 6,000 BC. Bees have 4 wings, 2 large wings, and 2 small wings. That was number 3. Number 4, bees can see colors. They are most likely to land on flowers that are blue, purple, or yellow. Farmers often hire beekeepers to bring bees to their fields. The bees pollinate the farmers' crops. 6. Honeybees do a dance called the waggle. Scientists think that the dance shows other bees in the hive where the best nectar is. 7. About 1/3 of the food on our planet grows because of bees' pollination. A bee or not a bee? It's easy to mistake other insects for bees. They often look alike. Bee has hair all over its body that helps catch pollen, has pollen baskets if the bee is female, and eats nectar and pollen from flowers. But there are ways to tell them apart. Take a closer look at a bee and a yellow jacket wasp. Which is not a bee? Do you see what's different? Eats mostly meat, such as other insects. Does not have much hair. Does not have pollen baskets. Question: what do you call a wasp? Answer, a wannabe. A world of bees. Most bees are solitary bees. About 20,000 kinds of bees live on Earth. All bees are either solitary bees or social bees. A solitary bee makes a nest for its young. The nest is inside a hole in the ground, in wood, in walls, or in plant stems. Solitary bees collect pollen, but they do not make honey or beeswax. Buzzwords. Solitary bees, bees that live alone. Social bees, bees that live in a group. Social bees live with many other bees. A group of social bees is called a colony. A colony of bees lives in a hive. Honeybees are one kind of social bee. As many as 50,000 honeybees may live in one hive. Bees care for their young there. They make and store honey in the hive too. Buzzword, hive, an open space within a tree structure or a box where social bees live together. Honeybee. Question, what goes zubub, zubub? A bee flying backward. Home sweet home. Inside the hive, honeybees build with beeswax. The bees mold the wax into six-sided shapes called cells. Lots of cells together make a honeycomb. Buzzword, honeycomb, a sheet of six-sided cells made of beeswax. The bees put nectar from flowers into some of the cells. As the nectar gets thicker, it turns into honey. Bees eat the honey for food. Other cells in the hive hold bee eggs. There is one egg in each cell. The eggs hatch. The young bees grow and change. After 21 to 24 days, the young bees become adults. Each cell has one egg. Adult bees feed and care for their young. These young are almost ready to come out of their cells. A bee starts as an egg and becomes an adult in about 3 weeks. Busy as a bee, every honeybee in the colony has a special job. These jobs keep the colony healthy and strong. There is only one queen bee. She is bigger than the other bees. She lays all of the eggs, up to 1,500 per day. Worker bees surround the queen. She is the largest bee in the middle. There are 2 other kinds of bees in the colony. This worker bee is collecting pollen. Drone bees are male bees, and their job is to help the queen make eggs. Worker bees have many jobs. These females feed the queen and care for the young. They build the hive and make honey. On long flying trips, they collect pollen and nectar. They also guard the hive against enemies. Whew! That's a lot of work. Keeping bees. Beekeepers wear special clothes to protect them from stings. Some humans build honeybee hives out of wooden boxes. Beekeepers take care of the hives and collect the honey. Beekeepers also check the bee colonies to make sure they are healthy. Beekeepers know how important bees are to our world. Question, why did the bee get married? Because he found his honey. Be aware. Here are some tips for staying safe around bees. Move slowly. Don't wave your arms or jump around. If a bee thinks it's being attacked, it may sting. If a bee comes near you, stand still or walk slowly away. Do not swat at a bee. Let it fly away on its own. Do not disturb any bee nest or honeybee hive. The bees will defend their home and may sting an attacker. If you are stung by a bee, put ice on the sting. If you leave bees alone, they will probably leave you alone. Bees by Laura Marsh.